Hello everybody, welcome to my living room. I was going to do this in the backyard, but then the neighbors went into their backyard and I didn't want them to think that I was talking to myself. So I came inside. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about my new cookbook, Convenient Food, and some of the things that I think are so great about it, and answer some common questions. First of all, you might notice that this is in a little bit of a different format than a lot of other cookbooks, most other cookbooks on the market. It has a spiral binding, which this is just a proof copy, so the spiral is actually going to be more of a metallic silver color, and this cover was hand wrapped, it wasn't machine wrapped, so it's kind of messy. But it gives you the idea. And what I like about the spiral binding is that you can open the book like this and it will lay flat on your counter while you're cooking. And then I like the hardcover because it makes the book so durable and it will stand up on its own on the counter. You know, sometimes you have a row of cookbooks and if they're not hardcover, they'll kind of squish and eventually fall flat on your countertop if they are left to themselves long enough. So this will actually stand upright. You can't really tell on my hand here, but it will actually stand upright on its own and help anchor your other cookbooks. Some people are concerned because they think it's hard to open between the spiral and the hardcover, but I personally think that the pros of having it like this outweigh the cons. I just feels so complete. So as an author, I take great pride in the feeling of these hefty, substantial books. And one tip as you're opening it, instead of fighting the spiral, kind of put a little bit of outside pressure on it so it goes around the spiral instead of just flat against it like this. Kind of put a little bit of, pull a little bit as you open it and it'll go around the spiral nicely. And you can also make sure that the spiral is completely spiraled evenly along the book. Sometimes a lot of these are done by hand. They're started on a machine and finished by hand because of a unique thickness of the book as well as the hardcover. It makes so they can't spiral these by a machine. So all of these books are spiraled by hand. You can feel sorry for the people who have to do that. So you can just kind of manipulate it to where it's even along the book, and that will help it open better as well. So let's talk about the title. My first book was called Necessary Food, and that title was taken from a verse in Job that says, "I have esteemed the words of his mouth more than my necessary food." And I think it's really important to keep God first in every aspect of our lives, including our food and our diets and our lifestyles. And I just wanted to keep in mind that while healthy food is a really good thing, it can become an idol as well. So I think it's really important to keep God first and keep our food balanced and our view of food balanced, where we're not afraid of it, but neither are we obsessed with it. So I wanted a similar concept for the second book, and I wanted something that would mark this as kind of the grown-up sequel of Necessary Food. So I chose this verse out of Proverbs 30, verse 8. "Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me." And it's kind of a unique play on words, kind of like the Necessary Food title on the book with cake and ice cream. That was done on purpose, by the way. But this verse, I think, well, let me read from the title page of the book. It says, "Don't give me too much or too little. Just give me enough to live on." That's my commentary on this verse, and its message of balance and contentment fit my goal for this book perfectly. Sometimes eating healthy becomes an excuse to eat too much and obsess over food preparation, but God calls us to a higher standard. Convenient food focuses on real, simple ingredients that are smart on calories, big on flavor, and easy on the wallet. In this book, you'll find a vast array of savory main dishes and side dishes, but don't worry, I still enjoy desserts in moderation. My new commitment to a balanced diet doesn't mean that I cut out decadent ice cream entirely, but it does mean that I don't make such recipes every week, and my portions are smaller when I do choose to enjoy something rich. As you cook your way through convenient food, chew slowly and savor each bite. That's a good tip for not overeating, by the way. So the whole purpose of the book is to kind of focus on balance and contentment, and I feel like a lot of the recipes in here are more balanced in calories than the ones in Necessary Food. Not all, definitely. There are a lot of indulgent desserts. But as I said, I personally keep those a little fewer and farther between than I used to, and there are more balanced calorie desserts that you can choose from. Overall, there are about a little over 400 recipes in this book, and about half of them are savory, half are sweet. The main dishes section is the biggest section in the book by far. There are about 100 recipes in the main dish section, and it goes basically from there to there. And then there's obviously a breakfast section. There's a large side dish section. There's a section for salads. It has all kinds of vegetable salads, as well as some fruit salads and jello salads, shakes and drinks, ice cream and frozen desserts. And I love ice cream, so it won't surprise you that that's a rather significant section in this book. There is a cakes and muffins section, and this is how the divider pages are laid out at the beginning of each section. There's an alphabetical index of the recipes in this section, and I love the 2-page layout, the horizontal layout there. My designer did an incredible job. At the beginning of that section is where you find the Briana's baking mix, which is used in a lot of the recipes in this book. There is a candies, cookies, and bars section, and then a dessert section, which includes cheesecakes, basically everything that didn't fit into the previous sweet sections. Some cobblers, some fried tacos, which I love, puddings. And there's a snacks and appetizers section. Right here you see the veggie pizza. I'm used to eating this at potlucks and baby showers. It's one of my favorite recipes in this book. So there's a lot of savory options in the appetizer section. And then there's a sauces, spices, spreads, and syrups. Syrup. I grew up saying syrup. Fine line. And then at the very end, there is a yogurt tutorial with some pictures of various options you can use to drain your yogurt. I make a lot of homemade yogurt. And there's an alphabetical index. The index in necessary food was an alphabetical dual index, and I think some of you found that one kind of confusing. So this one is a little bit simpler, a lot simpler. It's just listed the categories. It's listed by category, so breakfast, main dishes, they're listed in the order that they appear in the book, and then the recipes under them are listed alphabetically. And at the beginning of the main dishes section is one of my favorite features. There are 2 sub-indices. This index is for the main dishes, and it's listed by the types of recipes. So casseroles, curries, marinades, oven dishes, salads, single serve, slow cooker, soups and stews, and stovetop and skillet dinners. And then the second one is listed by protein. So depending what kind of meat you have out, you can decide what you want to make. There's beef, chicken, meatless, pork, seafood, turkey, and venison. That's one of my favorite features. I find it to be very practical. And then, in case you're wondering, the recipes are laid out with the same fuel types as necessary food. Due to trademark, I'm not able to use the fuel types that I usually use on my blog. So I came up with my own categories, and you can find those and their definitions on page 15. Healthy fats, foundation fats, healthy carbs, low carb, low fat, and then healthy carbs and healthy fats. And for the majority of the recipes, I separate fats and carbs. There are a significant number of low carb, low fat recipes, which are low in both, so they're more neutral. They can be used with either. And I would say there's definitely a better spread of healthy carbs and healthy fats recipes. Like there's more of an equal balance than there was in necessary food. The recipes in this book, it covers the recipes that were published since Necessary Food was published. So Necessary Food left off in the end of July 2016. So this book contains the recipes published on my blog from August 2016 through May of 2018. And then it also contains about half the book is from my blog, and then half is cookbook exclusive recipes. So about 200 of each. There's lots of material in here, and it's selling for only $19.99 during pre-order. And I don't have an exact date yet for when pre-order will be ending, but books will be shipping out before the end of October 2018. So go ahead and get your orders in to make use of that discount. Now the pre-order price, that's 5 cents per recipe, so I don't think you can beat that. It's always cheapest off my website. It will be available on Amazon later on, hopefully before Christmas, but Amazon charges a lot of fees, so I try to do the bulk of my sales through my website. So if that helps you make your decision, go ahead and order now off my website. I'm self-published, so that means that I foot all the bills and I do all the work and I oversee everything. So it's a lot of work, but it means I have full control over what goes into the book. I have full control over the design. I worked with some amazing ladies who put into print exactly what I didn't know how to describe from my head. So they did an amazing job, and a lot of editing went into this. I went through it many, many times, and then made a trip up to the printing company and was able to kind of oversee the colors and everything while they were printing, and they have some really good people working there. So I'm very happy with the quality, and I can't wait for you to see the finished product in your hands very soon. Let me go through my list and see if I got everything I wanted to say. Probably not. This is more of a, I would say, a grown-up sequel to Necessary Food. I got married during the process of writing this book, and the first 6 months of my marriage, I was chin deep in cookbook work. So my dear husband was very patient and understanding, and he was working long hours. He was in his intern year of internal medicine residency when we got married, and now he's a second year resident, and he still works long hours, but it's a little more manageable. And he has been so patient through the whole process, and here you see him on the dedication page with me, and he's on the front cover as well. Last time it was my horse, now it's my husband. But I feel like this book is just a little more mature, more balanced. I feel like I've learned a lot about balance in life and balance in cooking and eating. And you can find a lot of information about that in the non-forward. If you have my first cookbook, you know what I'm talking about, but there's a second non-forward in this book. And it has a little bit about me and about our love story and food strategies that have been working for me. And it's all about balance, and I feel like this book is a lot more balanced in calories and in fuel types and savory and sweet recipes. I'm really excited about it. I'm excited for you to see it. I don't include nutritional info in the book because personally I find that to be a form of bondage. And I am sorry because I know that some of you are diabetic and you do need carb counts, but just for me, for the size of the book, it was not practical to include those. And for all my readers who don't need the nutritional info, unless you need it for health reasons, I just find that there's a lot more freedom in not going by the numbers. And for me, I actually deal with obsessive compulsive disorder, so that's something I just don't want to get into. And perhaps that will change in the future. Maybe on my website someday I will include nutritional information for those of you that need it. But for me right now, I had enough work going into this book, and to go through and calculate everything, especially when things can vary, like whether or not you're counting fiber or sugar alcohols, or do you count the carbs in non-starchy vegetables? Do you count your fats in your protein source? It can vary so much, and depending on the healthy eating plan that you're using, it can actually be more confusing than it is helpful. So I personally just try to separate fats and carbs, and that keeps it easy for me. So this book is all about easy, and that kept it easier for me, so I hope you can catch my vision in that. Yes, as I said, the book will probably be on Amazon before Christmas, so if you purchase the book through my website instead of Amazon, which I really appreciate, I would love if you would go leave an Amazon review once the book is on Amazon. I would love if you would take a picture with the book and send it to me, post it on social media and tag me so I can see it. I just love putting faces to the people who are enjoying my work, and it would help me out if you would share it with your friends and tell them all about it. If you have local stores that you think would carry it, tell them about me and ask them to carry it. All of that I would so appreciate. Because I'm self-published, I don't have the margins that some people do. And I guess I'm not well known enough, and getting into a chain store is just really hard for a self-publisher. So you won't find this in Walmart or Sam's Club or anything like that. And honestly, I'm fine with that because I'm actually trying to scale back a little bit on my work, and I just want to keep the process sustainable for me. And I want to keep my work and personal life more balanced. So yeah, this will be available in small locally owned stores, a lot of bulk food stores, especially if you have any Mennonite Amish communities near you. It might be in any of their stores. So I do have wholesalers, but they're not going to be your big name retailers. And it's also, I can't really get into any international distributors because I'm self-published, and I just can't offer them the discounts they need in order to make it worth their while to carry it. So I do hope to offer this in ebook form in the future, but right now I have a huge inventory of printed books that cost me a lot of money, so I want to get rid of some of that inventory before I release it on as an ebook. So hopefully sometime next year, if I can figure out the whole process. I haven't really looked into it yet, so I don't think it'll be too hard, but I will probably be offering necessary food and convenient food around the same time as an ebook. So keep your eyes peeled for that, but I just love printed books. I've always been a bookworm, and being able to be at the print shop and see it produced, just, I would not trade a print book for an ebook unless obviously I lived internationally or something and I couldn't get it. But the book will be available after release. It will be available from Healthy Family Foods in Manitoba, Canada. So those of you who are in the great frigid north, where my husband comes from, you can buy it from them, and obviously the shipping will be much cheaper than buying it from my US distributor and shipping to Canada. Thanks so much for following along. Thank you for following my personal journey, following the cookbook journey. I can't wait to get back into more regular blogging now that this cookbook is done. When I published the first one, I think I kept blogging through most of the cookbook journey, but when you get married, you just don't have quite as much time. And for me, I just felt, as soon as I got married, I lost some of my focus on the business side of things. And I've always loved business, I've always loved my work, I've loved blogging. I still love blogging, but it's definitely becoming more of a hobby than a business, and I'm very happy for it to stay that way. So I'm trying to find the new balance, and now that the book is out, I can kind of shift back into the whole blogging thing. So I'm excited about that, excited to see what the future holds, and thank you so much for being here, for being my friends, and yeah, keeping up with everything. I really appreciate it.